Just going to get rid of that. And now it looks like we're good to go. All right. So my cat is hanging out. So if you hear him in the background, I apologize. Stop that. All right. We're going to get into the show in a minute here. First, I'm going to close my door, though. Much better. So we're going to get into the show in a minute here. Before we do, if you've tuned into the show before, you know what the deal is. You know what the show is all about. We're here to help athletes. We're here to help athletes reach higher levels in their careers. We're here to work through the little things that you guys need to be doing outside of the sport itself in order to help you reach higher and higher levels. Mr. Real Deal, you have a special guest for us? You got to elaborate on that. You can't just leave me hanging there. Come on, Ramil. But we're going to get into it in about a minute. We're talking about things you need to stop doing in order to break through plateaus in your career. So as you tune in, if you're an athlete, if you've got any kind of competition coming up, make sure that you are dropping me a comment. Let me know when the competition is and anything that you're struggling with leading into that so we can actually speak to that on future episodes of the show. Carbon Coaching, what's going on? Appreciate you being here. And we're going to get going in about 30 seconds talking about what you need to stop doing in order to break through plateaus in your career. In the meantime, though, drop me a comment and let me know that you're here. If you're tuning into the replay, make sure to let me know that as well. We're going to be getting going in a little under 30 seconds, so you can skip ahead a little bit if you are here on the replay. Let me know that you're here. Let me know, again, what kind of competitions you're training for right now and what kind of things you're struggling with, so that we can start touching on those in future episodes of the show as well. So let's get into the show. We're going to talk about things you need to stop doing in order to break through plateaus in your career. And we're going to start in on that in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the #1 show for athletes looking to gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. I'm your host, Kenny Dusseault, and today we are going to be talking about what you need to stop doing in order to break through plateaus in your athletic career. Now, the reason this topic came to me and the reason I wanted to bring this to you all is because I see so many very simple mistakes that athletes have been making for a long time when it comes to breaking through plateaus or when it comes to, dealing with struggles in their athletic career. And I wanted to touch on a few of these, hopefully show you some of the mistakes you might be making. I know these are similar to mistakes I made when I was competing in powerlifting and mistakes I've even made building up a business over the last number of years as well. So the first one we're going to talk about, and the first thing that I really hope you guys take away from this one is going to be a really key, is if you are struggling anywhere in your career, if you are plateauing somewhere in your career, one of the biggest mistakes you can make, and one of the things you absolutely need to stop doing, is doubling down on that area. So I know right when I say that, that's going to sound confusing to a lot of people, because if you're struggling in an area, don't you want to spend more time focusing on it so that you can work through the struggle so that you can break through? But where I see a lot of athletes go wrong is, as an example, if an athlete loses a fight, the first thing I see them do quite often is say, well, I've got to work twice as hard for my next fight. Which, in retrospect, yeah, if you lose, that means that something was wrong and you need to do more in order to make sure you win next time. But where I see a lot of athletes go wrong here is they don't take any time to actually analyze their performance and analyze where they can improve their performance. They just say, I lost, so I need to work twice as hard. And then they prepare for the next fight doing all the same shit, just working twice as hard at it. And the reason that's a problem, think about it. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, doing more of the same thing over and over and over again is a level up from insanity. So instead of doubling down and just doing more of the shit that didn't get you the result you wanted, what you need to start doing is you need to start actually looking at mistakes that you're making in your training and ways that you can improve on those mistakes. Now, 1 second. Hey. My cat is blowing shit up on my desk, so apologies for that. But when it comes to insanity, so basically, let's get back on track here. My apologies. But like I said, if you are coming off of a loss and your immediate reaction is I need to do twice as much coming into the next one to make sure I don't lose, instead of sticking with that mentality of I need to do twice as much, start actually looking at the weak areas in your performance. So if you are coming off of, let's say, a boxing match and it was a close decision, you feel like you could have won, instead of coming back into training and saying, I need to do twice as much next time to make sure I don't lose, start thinking, where were my mistakes? What did I do that allowed my opponent to hit me more than I hit them? Even if I felt like I won, what mistakes did I make that could have possibly pushed the fight in the other direction? And instead of just coming in and saying, I need to put in twice as many hours and feel like you're checking the box just by putting in more time, start looking at where those hours are being spent and start looking at how you can put more hours into the right places in order to actually have the effect you want coming into your next performance. So the second thing I want to talk about when it comes to things you need to stop doing in order to start breaking through plateaus in your athletic career, the second thing we're going to talk about is getting frustrated. Now, obviously, I understand when you are struggling with something, when you've been struggling with something for a long time, when you feel like the answer just isn't there, I understand why the frustration happens. However, the biggest mistake you can make is allowing this to throw you off your path. So what do I mean when I say that? Obviously, the frustration happens, and you're a human being. You're allowed to be frustrated when something's not going your way. So when I say the biggest mistake you can make is getting frustrated, what I really want you to realize is, yes, you can feel the frustration. Feel it, sit in it for a minute, and then it's time to get over it. Because if all you're doing is sitting around bitching about the fact that it's not going your way, bitching about the fact that you're not getting the result you want, you're not putting that energy into actually getting yourself a better result. So if you can take all of that energy and you can put that into something productive to say, how do I actually make sure that I get the result I want next time? Now, all of that negative energy that's going into bitching about the result you got is going into changing the result next time that you actually get out. Your life is fully in your control. The things that you accomplish are fully within your control. The way you show up is fully within your control. So the thing you need to shift is not necessarily, the thing you need to shift is your mindset. The thing you need to shift is your mindset, because if you're coming at a problem through a place of frustration, through a place of being upset, through a place of feeling like there's nothing that can be done to fix it, then you're going to come at that problem with half-ass energy because you don't really think that the problem can be solved. And if you come at the problem with half-ass energy, you're going to get a half-ass result. So allow yourself to feel the frustration, allow yourself to be upset when something like that, when something you're not happy about is happening in your career, but then understand that that is wasted energy, and understand that you're going to get a result not by sitting around and being upset that you're not getting the result you want, but by actually putting that energy into something more productive, into changing up a game plan, into doing something that's actually going to move you towards the result you want, instead of sitting around bitching about the fact that you got a result you didn't want. And again, making sure that your mind is always coming back to the things you can actually control, the things you can actually affect, is going to allow you to put your time and put your energy into something that is actually going to help you, and in turn is actually going to make the change you're looking for the next time you compete. Now, the third thing I wanted to get into when it comes to avoiding plateaus in your athletic career, or when it comes to breaking through plateaus in your athletic career, is jumping from plan to plan. This is something I see commonly with athletes too. They're struggling with something, let's say, as an example, their cardio, because that's something that obviously I work with a lot of athletes on. And they start on a specific plan to help improve their cardio. And after 2 weeks, they don't have the best cardio in the history of the sport, so they jump to a new plan. And after 2 more weeks, something's still not working, so they jump to a new plan. And after 2 more weeks, something's still not working, so they jump to a new plan. Now, they're getting frustrated by not seeing the result, not because the plan they're on isn't working, not because the plan they're on isn't effective, but because they're not actually allowing the plan to take effect. I see this quite commonly. Or the other issue there is they jump onto a plan, don't follow it consistently, and then get upset that they're not seeing the result they want. Plans actually need time to start working. And not only do they need time to start working, they need consistency in order to be able to see the result. If you truly want to reach the next level in your sport, if you truly want to develop into that next level athlete you're looking to become, and you're stuck with an issue, whether it be your cardio, like we said, or your strength, your power, something in your skill set, attacking that problem with intention is going to actually make the difference for you. If you are starting on a plan and you stick to it for 2 weeks and you don't magically have this incredible change that you're looking for, this isn't going to be enough time to actually see that plan take effect. And as a result, it's not the plan that's not working for you, it's you that's not working for yourself. So again, why do people feel that anxiety? Why do people feel that they want that result right away? It's plain and simple, it's impatience. And this might hurt to hear if you're one of those athletes that's jumped from program to program to program and never really stuck with anything. Plain and simple, it's impatience. You feel like you're working hard enough that the results should be there already. You feel like, every night you're going to do a little bit extra just to make sure that the result comes faster. But what you don't realize is the result you're looking for is not going to come with random workouts. The result you're looking for is not going to come just because you went for a 20-kilometer run on Saturday, even though that wasn't part of the plan. The result you're looking for, the cardio that's actually going to translate into the ring or the cage, the strength, the power that's actually going to allow you to dominate your next opponent and to actually out-muscle and force your game plan on someone else instead of allowing them to force their game plan on you, that comes from actually sticking to the proper program. Doing extra isn't always a good answer. I'm going to say that again because I know that's something a lot of people struggle with. Doing extra isn't always a good answer. I have a lot of athletes that do that as well, or that I've seen do that as well, where they say, yeah, I'm on this program, it's designed like this, but I always just go for an extra 5-kilometer run every night anyway. Why? And it's something that I still never understand because, again, if you're hiring a coach and you're sticking to a program, that coach understands, hopefully, how to get you the result you're looking for. So you adding in all these extra things every day just to show that you work super hard isn't going to be the answer to actually help you break through. The answer to help you break through is to buy into the program and trust the process. Now, on that note as well, I wanted to touch on this because I know this is something that a lot of athletes struggle with, and I've seen a lot of athletes have difficulty with, is if you're not sure that the process is actually doing what it should be doing, you need to be able to have that conversation with your coaches. This is something that I always touch on with my athletes, and I always make sure they understand, is that my goal is that you feel comfortable coming to me and asking me questions about the program, talking to me about the program, talking about your specific needs for the program and if we're properly addressing them or not. Because if you don't feel comfortable talking to me about it and you're not sure that we're getting the result that you're looking for, then we won't get as good of a result as we can. So athletes, if you are unsure if the program you're on is actually helping you through this plateau, instead of jumping to a new program, instead of firing your coach and hiring someone new, instead of switching things up for the 4th time this month, have the conversation. Speak to the person that you're working with to help you through this plateau and actually ask them, what is it that we're working on right now and how is that going to help me when it comes back to performing? If they can't tell you, immediate problem. But if they can tell you, either A, you're going to better understand and you're going to be more willing to buy in, or B, you're going to look at them and go, this is fucking nuts. And then you're going to realize that this program isn't a good fit for you and it's time to move on. But by actually asking and actually having the discussion and actually trying to educate yourself, you're going to understand the results you're after. You're going to understand how to get them. And in turn, you're going to be able to buy into the program more and see better results long-term breaking through the plateaus that you're facing. So let's give a quick recap on that. When it comes to breaking through plateaus in your athletic career, there are 3 things that you really need to stop doing. Number 1 is doubling down on the same things. If you're coming off of a loss right now, don't come at your next fight with the mentality of, I'm just going to do twice as much of what I did last time. It's not the volume that is the problem, it's the quality. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if you're training and the training is not yielding the result you're looking for, and you go back and you just do the same shit again, you're going to likely get the same result. But if you can go back and you can make a different game plan, now you're going to be able to attack the program with a different mentality, get a different result from the training, and in turn, get a different result when you fight. Even an example on that, I won't go into details with names, but I had an athlete recently that unfortunately, lost his last fight. And when we spoke after, we sat down immediately and we game planned the changes in the training that we're going to make in order to have changes in the physical qualities he needs to step into the ring. And when he comes into his next fight, there are going to be changes through our program that are going to address the weaknesses he had in his last performance. And in turn, we're working on getting a different result. Does that guarantee a win in the next one? Of course not. But the intentionality of making the changes you need beforehand and then applying those to the program to better prepare for the next performance is going to give a way better chance of changing the result than just coming back at the next performance and doing the exact same thing that we did the last time. So again, we can never guarantee a result, but you can guarantee how you show up, and you can guarantee the energy and the intensity that you put into your training. Now, number 2, when it comes to getting through plateaus in your athletic career, is getting frustrated. If you spend all your time and all your energy getting frustrated that you're not getting the results you're looking for, instead of actually improving the results you're getting, all of that negative energy is taking away from what you can get in the future. So feel frustrated for a minute, as humans do, and then get the fuck over it and understand that you control how you show up. You control how you train. You control how you feel about the things that have happened before. If you can look at the previous losses and the previous struggles as a lesson, as something to learn from, you're going to be able to take better things into your next performance. If you're looking at your previous struggles and your previous losses and just getting pissed off and trying to blame other people or trying to blame external factors, now you're immediately getting rid of your power. And if you're immediately getting rid of your power, what's going to happen? The same thing is going to happen the next time you try to step in and perform. So on that note of getting frustrated, one thing that I realized I forgot to mention is working on your mindset. You know, this is something that you should hopefully be doing every day. And I'll give you a little tip. One of the best things I ever did for my own mindset was adopting a philosophy that I heard from Gary Vaynerchuk and Tom Bilyeu. They're both entrepreneurs and, big personal brands on social media. You should go check them all out. Great mentality, great mindset stuff from both of them. But they both basically said the way they approach life is that everything that happens in life is their fault to them. Even if it's something that's not actually their fault, they take responsibility, because if they take responsibility, they can change something for the future. Even as extreme as one of them gave the example, if I walked out of my house tomorrow and got hit by a bus, instead of it's the bus's fault for hitting me, the way that I choose to look at life is it's my fault for leaving the house at that time, which allowed that bus to hit me. Now, again, that's extreme. If anyone has ever gotten hit by a bus or known someone that's been in that kind of situation, of course, I'm not trying to say that they should be blaming themselves for that, but taking that kind of accountability, taking that kind of approach to life, makes sure that no matter what happens to you in your career, you lose 5 times in a row, whatever else it is, judges robbed you from a bad decision, instead of looking at it and saying it's the judge's fault, look at it and say, what could I have done to make sure that there was no way they could have given it to that guy? Because just by changing that mentality, just by changing that approach, now you're putting yourself in a position where you can make the change, And if you're putting yourself in a position where you can make the change, then you're going to put yourself in a position where next time that same issue isn't going to happen to you. So the third thing when it comes to breaking through plateaus in your athletic career is jumping from plan to plan. So what I see so often is when an athlete's been struggling with something for a while, they jump on a program to help work through that physical issue, whether that's, cardio, their strength, their power, whatever. And if they're not seeing results immediately, they jump to a new program. They say, this isn't working for me, I got to go somewhere else. Now, the issue with that is that if the program is actually built correctly, because that's a topic for another day, it takes time for you to actually see long-term sustainable results. If you jump on a program and then immediately you're jumping to another one and another one and another one, what starts to happen is you're not actually seeing results, not because the work you're doing isn't proper, but because you're not sticking with it long enough to actually see the result you want. So those are the three things you need to stop doing when it comes to breaking through plateaus in your athletic career. I hope you got a little something out of this. I hope you got some value. If you did, I would love to know what it is. Drop me a comment below if you're here live. If you're listening back to it on the podcast, the YouTube channel, anything like that, make sure to send me a message. Let me know what you took away. And finally, my one ask of all of you is that if you have tuned into the show and you have gained some value from this podcast, share it with a coach, with a teammate, with a friend, with anybody who is going to need to hear this message. So that is it for me. I appreciate you all for tuning in and taking the time out of your day. That's it. That's all. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll talk again soon.